Welcome to the Sacramento Dugout Show. I'm Todd Sullivan with my co-host Dominic Morris, and tonight we have a very special guest, Wallace. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thanks for inviting me, guys.
I've been trying to get you on the show for a long time, way back from Shut Speed, believe it or not. But now that you guys progressed to the CBA and you're looking to be one of the top 5 programs in California, being ranked by not only Perfect Game but PBR as well, it must be a big honor for this program being so young to excel so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we were really excited. I think we try to focus on the program, not the individuals. I think we try to bring guys in that understand what our philosophy is and how we as a group can be successful. Then that makes the individuals be more successful.
Could you tell us about the origin of your program and the name change and just the start to finish of where you're at right now?
Yeah, so Sacramento Speed started about 5-6 years ago. I started it when my son was 11, and at a certain point, I didn't see a future in regards to, with a lot of programs, where my son was going to be to have a college development. It's a long time ago, so we didn't have the items that we have now. So I wanted to build a program where we could establish teaching these guys at a young age how to be college baseball players. So we established that, we grew. One thing that we noticed as we got older, as we got bigger, is to be able to attract the attention of some of the other larger programs, it would take us a longer period of time. We were doing really well. We played in Florida. I think we came in 6th at the Perfect Game Nationals. So we got a lot of attention from a lot of other programs. And we decided to partner with CBA just because, one, they are a great brand and they're established, and 2, the West Coast. You know, they're a West Coast program compared to some of the other East Coast programs. Absolutely. And we really like their philosophies, and it's been successful.
Yeah, and it's a very small. It hasn't been around a while, but it is truly one of the largest programs. You guys seem to be growing rather quickly. You just announced shortly about a program coming up starting in Elk Grove.
Yeah, so we started with CBA Sacramento, and now we are launching CBA Bay Area, so we have 3 teams out there for the summer. So we have 14s, 15s, and 16s that are going to be part of our summer showcase. Now we're starting CBA Elk Grove. They'll be starting off with the 12U Sun Devils. And our whole naming scheme is based off of college teams.
Nice.
So CBA 12U Elk Grove CBA 12U Sun Devils will be our first team. Then we'll be building out 13s and 14s out there. Our whole plan is to do how we run in Southern California. Well, during next spring 2020, we'll have our CBA NorCal teams. So we'll have the best players from our Elk Grove, Sacramento, and Bay Area, and we'll be combining those guys together to go play at some of the biggest tournaments in the nation.
Yeah, and I was talking to you earlier. It takes a lot of work to have, just to be able to run a small program, but your program truly is not that small. You can almost consider it nationwide. And you have a small staff, but a very intelligent and great staff, and it takes a lot of people behind the scenes. I know, just talking with your wife, she seems to be very knowledgeable and helps you out when it comes to other ends. So it's a big family adventure. It seems to have started with the family, you, your wife, and Landon coming involved, and you guys are all still together. It's a real great opportunity to see this is pretty much a family-run business, huh?
Yeah, but Cameron Childs, one of our amazing coaches. We have a lot of great Trey Hicks, a lot of great young guys who came on board with us to kind of take my vision and their vision to run something special. And we try to make sure that we're family and try to stay as close-knit as possible and combining our practices, not really isolating anyone as much as possible and really trying to make that family grit so that we can stay together and have a bond.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, before the airing, you was talking about like the business of programs, how in Sacramento it's a hotbed of different baseball programs, but the ones that stay and flourish have a little bit about business to it. Could you explain what you was telling us about?
Yeah, we have so many great baseball minds. I think, we have the Jerry Manuels, we have the Butch Bacalas, we got guys that understand baseball. My background, I'm an athlete, but also I'm a marketing person. I promoted concerts when I was in college.
Nice.
I promoted Too Short. I went on tour of, I danced for Motown. So as I grew up, life has always been about marketing yourself. So one thing that I position our program to be is more of a media company. If you know us, we're all about social media, and that's going to be something that will never stop. Because for me, I try to establish a preview for my players to have the coaches want to come out and watch the show. Coaches are busy. College coaches are busy. They have their existing teams. They're recruiting. Our job is to try to package everything together and make their lives easier, make their schedule and who they want to come see a lot easier. So from a business standpoint, we have to invest in those other items, like media. We use sports recruits as a mechanism for our parents to reach out and talk to college coaches. YouTube, Facebook marketing, targeted ads, etc., to really draw the attention and make those coaches be established. Twitter has allowed us to tag our coaches and tag coaches to the point where they can know an update on a player immediately. We have a tagging mechanism. We have a posting time. We know exactly when coaches are going to be out of their beds, and it's been established. I've had plenty of times when my post time goes out, I get a call after I post, and those coaches are up at 6. They text me at 7. Hey, I just watched such and such video. Would he love to come for a visit?
Nice.
So the business side is going to help the baseball side. And for me, I really like to let my baseball guys do baseball, and I deal with the business side. And then we sit down and meet and make sure we have
And that really, really helps with college recruiting, because a lot of kids get in trouble with their own social media. And you can tell definitely with the way you handle the social media for the kids and the program that they don't have to do the bragging. They got a system that's promoting them. They're not bragging. They're putting the stats out. They're letting people know the information that they're doing and acquiring throughout the season. And so everything seems to be very clean when it comes to your players. And there's such a professional group. The way you travel, the way you dress, it's always, your presence is always number one. It seems like your first encounter, your first impressions, and it's really great to see. And with these young kids coming up and learning that process, because it's so important once you get into college.
Yeah, you said something that was very interesting. You said about traveling. You said college recruiters, they want to go to a facility that has more than one field so they can see multiple people. So is that part of the type of tournaments you pick? Bigger facilities, one location. Can you speak more about that?
So when we go to our events, we pretty much have a protocol that I tell my parents to follow. One, college coaches are going to establish their check schedule 2 weeks before that event. So if I'm emailing that coach the week of the event, he's already got his list, already set who he wants to see. So we need to establish who's going to be my starting pitcher 2 weeks ahead of time. And you as a parent need to say, this is my schedule, coach. I'll be playing at this field. I'll be here. I'll be there. You have to let them know. And a lot of times we go to tournaments where our guys are not spread out. There's a lot of events where some kids are in Stockton and another kid's going to be playing at Sac State, and other kids over in Yuba City. It's too far out. One thing about a lot of perfect games or PBR events, and you'll notice the trend is they're at one giant facility. They'll have 8 fields. Coaches can just walk around and get to see everyone. Coaches really only need maybe 5 to 10 minutes to see a kid. They can make it. They get their reading. They know what's going on. So you as a coach and as a program have to know those factors, because when we bring guys to a tournament and if there's no coaches watching their games, we feel disappointed. We're not doing our job. We want to make sure that there's people there to give these kids an opportunity to hopefully reach their goals.
And the sponsorship that you get with your program with Mariucci and Nike, especially just now getting on board with Nike, those are huge steps. You don't see very many, academies like yourself that even has sponsorship like that. And you just announced that Blast is now on board. Congratulations with that.
Thank you. And that's those are a lot of our. Since we're a large family, we have a group in LA, we have a group now in Tennessee, we have a group in Nevada, Arizona. We all come up with different ideas, and we kind of try to use those again, for the program. No one's bigger than the program. When you come to CBA, there's a long list of rules, and sometimes those rules might be too overwhelming. Players are required to wear collared shirts during travel. There's no hats allowed on a plane inside the hotel room. When you're at the hotel, you have to wear a collared shirt and khaki shirts. And people ask me, why do you guys have so many rules? And I tell them, I go, so you don't think there might be a college coach staying in our hotel room? You don't think where are they going to stay? We're staying at a nice hotel. They're staying there. So when they see my guys who look like college players, when college players travel, they wear collared shirts. They wear nice pants.
When the owners and the coaches plan and prepare that well,
yes,
it just trickles down, and that's what you want from the kids. They need to plan and prepare for the game as well, and you're setting them up, to succeed. There is no setup for failure whatsoever from your program, and that is just totally outstanding. Nowadays with how academies are just exploded, and travel ball teams that call themselves academies is driving me nuts as well. So, without going on, we still got a lot more to talk about. I just heard the click in my ear, so we'll be right back after these messages.
So much interesting stuff. We want to dive a little deeper though. You have a program that's summer around program, but it's a travel ball program. So I just want to know, how do you prepare your players once they're in their summer program season, and how do they prepare from a day-to-day standpoint and getting ready to go into their respective high school programs?
So our summer program, our schedule's established probably 8 months before we even step foot in the summer. USA Baseball Nationals, Perfect Game, Super Game, World Series, NorCal, NIT. All those are established ahead of time. One thing that my pet peeve is, I like my parents to know months and months ahead of time where they're going to be. What does that mean? Well, I know my son, he's gonna be in Arizona for 3 weeks this summer, right? 3 weekends. So I've established my budget, I've established his plane ticket, I've established everything. Compared to being told that schedule right now, or being told that schedule in May, it's going to cause an issue.
Absolutely.
Now, also as a child, I'm prepping myself to know that, hey, we're investing in this opportunity. I know I'm going to have an opportunity to play in these events. I can then go research and know where people are going to go. On my sports recruit profile that CBA gives me, I can put my schedule there that any college coach can see and know where I'm going to be. So you have a framework, and establishing that framework also builds a pride level. Kids want to play at exclusive events.
Absolutely.
They just want to play locally. They want to travel. They want to look forward to being in Florida and in next year.
Yes.
And so that also helps them prepare to be better. I know that I have to be better. I'm going to have my opportunity. And we do preach, you might only get one shot. You might only get one at bat. Make it your best at bat. So that's kind of our whole establishment of making sure that our guys are prepared from the parental side of knowing where they're going to be. That's going to help the child then be ready to promote, and then they'll do their practicing and all the other items.
Interesting.
Absolutely. And on top of that, when you're talking about how you plan and set up and prepare for your athletes, and also separately for the parents. Are there anything you tell your parents specifically not to do to the kid or say to the kid, or sorry.
Yeah, no, and parents love their kids.
Absolutely.
Every parent loves their kids, and they want their kid to be successful. But it's a communication mechanism that they have to learn to help their child be successful.
There you go.
Kids can't play in a level of fear. They're already under enough stress. They want that gold carrot. They want to go D1, D2. They want it.
Yep.
So they don't need to be reminded that. They're under enough stress. I had several kids this year, playing in showcases is like being in an interview every single weekend. So eventually it's not baseball. It's job interviews. You're in a job interview. You have coaches calling you if you are blessed, you have coaches calling you on your phone, constantly talking to you, interviewing you. So it's as my son said, and this is a quote, he said, it's like dating. You have all these people that you're dating, and you're waiting for someone to finally say, will you marry me? And that is stressful. And if you have one bad game, they worry. So they don't need a parent to be down their throat.
Yep.
I try to send inspirational videos and try to let everyone know that it's a process. We, establish a 48-hour rule inside your own home. The kid knows he did bad. Doesn't need to be reminded. He's going to try to bounce back. But I can say from experience, when we think our kids have done bad, there's D1 coaches or D2 coaches or any coaches out there that think your kid was amazing, because we're going to overthink everything.
Yeah, a lot of kids, athlete or not, peer pressure really gets them. But when you're an athlete, peer pressure is totally different, because you got your peers that are around watching the game, the peers that are on the bench, and then, you always want your teammates to succeed. You want to succeed, but you don't want to embarrass yourself. So you always have that in the back of your mind, as a player. But then on top of that, the pressures is when you do fail, how do you go on from that point? And that's definitely, I see, you teach that philosophy. You got to drop it, let it go, move on to the next. Everybody goes through these bad situations, but like right now, dealing with your the younger kids that are coming up into your system, what's the process? How do you have those little guys deal with that situation? Because I'm pretty sure it's a struggle for them.
Yeah, I mean, we have different philosophies based on our age. And so with my younger kids, 10s and 11s, I don't really focus on having multiple levels. I have one team. Reason I do that is, and I tell this to my parents, is I don't want an 11-year-old kid worrying about making an A team or B team. He's 11 years old. He's going to get better. Nice. We're going to try to help him get better, and he's going to play. He's going to have a great time. My guys just went to Arizona for the Arizona Spring Championships. We send our 11s there every year. That's their first chance to travel. They're always really excited. They lost 2 games, tied 1, won 1. They had a great time. Every kid played, every kid hit, 11 kids, everyone had a great time. So at the 11s and 12s, we try to focus on playing. Turned 13, we then established the more competitive side. We have an A team, we have a B team, we have a majors. Even if that team is not a quote-unquote majors level, say they're AAA, we still play only majors tournaments. My philosophy on that is you have to beat that guy that you're playing against. You can't hide from him. They're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
I go, that pitcher that's striking you out, you can go play at a lower level. You can go play AA, go play at a lower tournament, but he's still there. Right. So if your goal is to play college baseball, to play at the next level, you got to figure out how to beat him. And eventually your testosterone's going to kick in, you'll get stronger. His testosterone might have kicked in a little bit early. But at the end of the day, your fundamentals, your mentality, your effort, you knowing what's out there is going to make you be better. I see a lot of parents and a lot of teams that, they'll play at these lower level tournaments. They want shirts. They just want it, right? I get it. I want to win also. But when your son then gets to high school, and he's used to striking out everybody, and then he gets to high school and he's not striking out anyone anymore, and they ask why, it's like, well, you were playing down here. I've been playing and traveling and going to all these events and playing at the best tournaments up and down Northern California. I know who XYZ is. I know who that kid is. That's why I'm better. So I think that's important that we try to instill competitiveness within our program based on their age and how they grow and when they're mentally and physically ready to compete.
And that's why I asked that question, is you can tell how your kids, your high school guys and players act and conduct themselves. It has to start somewhere, and they're just not doing it once they walk in at the U16, U17. It has to start with your little guys, and that's why I brought that up. So thank you for letting everybody know that you got to start that process early. And we're going to be right back after these messages with our favorite segment, the Hot Corner.
And we're back. This is the best part of the show, the Hot Corner, where we do rapid fire questions and just straight honest take on it. So, Todd, you want to go with the first question?
Yeah, one thing that's real popular right now, especially for me coaching high school, is the high school parents. So I'm getting a lot of incoming freshmen or sophomores that are moving up into varsity. Parents are constantly berating me. Why isn't my kid playing? How come my kid's not getting an opportunity? My kid should be playing this spot. My kid should be doing that. And I just immediately look at them and I said, I'm glad you're supporting your kid. I'm glad you're out here fighting for his needs. If your kid would fight for those positions as hard as you're fighting for him, he might be playing in those spots. How do you deal with, tough situations like that?
For our high school, it's best kids play. It has to be that way.
Top 9.
And fight for your spot, and the next kid will come on. For us, our high school is our bread and butter. So we have to put the best players out there every single tournament. Right. Youth-wise, different philosophy, but high schools, we have a reputation, so it's really important. So best kids play.
Nice.
That seems simple, straightforward, and I agree. I coach collegiate, and we'll go to mostly exhibition games, but it's the same thing. You're representing your team, your program, and you gotta put your best foot forward. So definitely agree with that. Parents, they still at the collegiate level, some of them still have their opinions, but my main focus is letting the players know, they're young men, what the situation is, and they all understand. So definitely agree. Now with high school though, there's a lot of back and forth, it seems like, just from our past guests of high school program, baseball academy. Baseball academy now is where players find to go to the next level, whether it's collegiate baseball or what have you. What's your philosophy on, you have your philosophy of your program, and you have a high school player that has maybe struggling at their respective high school. How do you deal with that player once he come back to your program?
I think he has to let that go. Your gains or I think one thing that I preach is you have to know how to handle the applause and the boos. And that needs to be taught, because if you're coming back from having a bad season, there's a lot of boos. But now I have a whole new season, so I can have applause, and that has to be established. Don't get too down on your bad days, and don't get too high on your good days. So handling those applause and handling those boos is going to make them become a better player, and that's how they can transition to both, depending on how well they did.
Yeah, and to keep on that one subject, if you got the kids playing in high school, they're it's their first week back for their summer program, you guys are getting started, and you're seeing a little bit of fatigue or a little bit of soreness. How can you make sure that your kids aren't overworked at the high school level? Because a lot of coaches rely on their top 3 to 4 guys a little bit too much, and it could diminish their playing time when it comes to their summer, when they're really going to be needed to be seen on the field.
Right. One thing about our schedule is we don't start our meet until the middle or late June. We do that on purpose so our guys can recover.
Nice.
High school usually ends in May unless you're going to playoffs, so you have all May to middle of June to do weights, get your long toss program in, get your strength back up, because you're losing a lot of gains from high school just because of the amount of gains and going back and forth. So that time frame is going to allow them to kind of get right, get that rest, get that icing, get ready for the summer season. And the summer season, you're pitching one game, you're done. Your game's done. You can go home probably right after that. It's not the same level of as the high school.
And it's mainly tournaments, right? So weekend tournaments, weekday tournaments, or do you guys do exhibition
So they're weekend.
games?
So we do, but the way our events, we have certain tournaments that are just we play 4 games and then we go. Then we have certain that are tournaments where there's a winner, there's a tournament champion. And usually ours are on the weekend, so it's 4 days, 5 days. We fly in and we fly back out.
Well, it's really something to say for a program like yours. In the past 5 to 6 years, you've had the most committed athletes to universities. I know the starter of your program, what's the gentleman's name?
Sean Pano.
Sean Pano. I mean, I bet you he's excited, because that's probably what he envisioned before the whole thing started. And for you guys now to be sponsored by these people and to be ranked in the top 5, I bet you not only is he smiling, but he is very, very proud of you, Markel. And we really want to thank you and CBA for being on our show. For Dominic, for Markel, I'm Todd Sullivan. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.